Rise Beyond Your Limits, The Candle's Journey, a short story that may change your life. The Small Candle in the Corner. In a quiet workshop filled with wood shavings, glass jars, and oils that smelled of lavender and pine, there lived a small candle named Leora. She was placed on a dusty shelf in the farthest corner, so far back that even sunlight rarely reached her waxy surface. Every day, Leora watched other candles being chosen. Tall ones, colorful ones, scented ones. Each was lifted gently by the candle maker, wrapped in soft paper, and carried out the door to begin a new life. But Leora remained on the shelf. She was short, plain, and made from leftover bits of wax. Her wick leaned slightly to one side, and though she never complained, she wondered why she was made at all. "What purpose do I have," she whispered one night, "if no one chooses me?" The other candles, glowing softly from across the room as they waited to be sold, offered little comfort. Some ignored her, some pitied her. But Leora stayed silent, unsure of where she belonged in a world where brightness was expected. But opportunity was scarce. The unexpected hand one evening, long after the sun had set and the candle maker had gone home, the workshop door creaked open. A boy stepped inside, a young traveler whose clothes were worn and whose eyes carried the heavy weight of exhaustion. He scanned the shelves desperately until his gaze fell upon the far corner. On the dusty wooden plank, nearly hidden by shadows, sat Leora. "She's perfect," he murmured. "Perfect." Leora had never heard that word directed at her. The boy picked her up gently, brushing off the dust with tender fingers. He didn't choose the tall candles or the colorful ones. He chose her, the plain, forgotten one. As he placed a coin on the counter and slipped out into the cold night, Leora felt something new flickering inside her hope. First light outside, the wind howled like a hungry creature. Snow swirled across the ground, burying stones, branches, and footprints beneath its icy blanket. The boy hurried along a forest path, shivering violently. His breaths came out in clouds of white mist. Finally, he collapsed against a fallen log. His lips trembled, his fingers numbed. "I just need a little light," he whispered, pulling Leora from his bag. With shaking hands, he struck a match. For the first time in her life, Leora felt heat brush against her wick. The flame hesitated for a moment, then, like a newborn taking its first breath, she bloomed into existence. Warmth radiated from her tiny body, pushing back the darkness. The boy cupped his hands around her flame to protect it. "You're saving me," he murmured, voice cracking. Leora didn't understand everything about the world, but in that moment she understood purpose. She understood that even the smallest light could guide someone through the deepest cold. The burden of burning. As hours passed, Leora's wax began to drip. Her body shortened. Her base softened. Each moment she shone, she lost a part of herself. Fear whispered in her mind. If I continue to burn, I will disappear. If I stop burning, he will freeze. The wind howled, forcing her flame to dance wildly. Snowflakes hissed as they evaporated upon touching her warm glow. She wanted to last forever, but candles weren't made for forever. They were made for moments, for purpose, for giving. The boy pressed closer, absorbing every drop of heat she offered. Leora looked at her melting form and asked herself, is my life worth giving if it means someone else can live? And the answer came gently, like a quiet truth rising from her core. Yes, she burned brighter. At dawn in the forest at last. A faint ribbon of sunlight crawled over the mountaintops. Birds began to chirp cautiously, testing the morning air. The boy opened his eyes. His body ached, but he was alive. He looked at Leora now, half her size. Her wax pulled around her, but her flame still glowed softly. You stayed with me, he said, voice thick with gratitude. Leora felt the warmth of his words deeper than the warmth of her own flame. Soon, people searching for the missing boy found them. They wrapped him in blankets, lifted him to safety, and carried him away. But Leora remained on the log, her purpose fulfilled, her flame flickering weakly but proudly. For the first time since she had been created, she felt complete. What remains after light? Hours later, the last of L'Aurora's flame trembled. She knew her time was ending. The wind had chilled. The forest no longer felt threatening. It felt peaceful, almost grateful. When I am gone, she wondered, will the world remember me? A leaf drifted down and settled beside her. The sunlight warmed her remaining wax. Birds hopped near her base without fear. It was as if the forest itself whispered, light never disappears. It becomes part of everything it touches. And with that final truth, Leora's flame quietly went out. But something extraordinary followed. Her melted wax, once plain and forgotten, had hardened into the shape of a tiny heart, perfect and bright in the morning sun. The boy who remembered years past. The boy, now grown into a strong and compassionate young man, carried Leora's wax heart wherever he traveled. He became a healer, a guide, and later a mentor to others who felt lost in darkness. Whenever someone doubted their worth, he would place the wax heart into their hands and tell L'Aurora's story, how the smallest candle saved my life, how light doesn't need to be big to matter, how giving yourself doesn't make you less, makes the world more. People cried, people healed, people found strength. Leora's journey did not end when her flame did. Her impact lived on in every soul the young man helped. Rise beyond your limits. Leora's story became a legend told in villages, classrooms, and family gatherings. Some called it a tale of courage, others a tale of sacrifice. But everyone agreed it was a tale of rising beyond your limits. Her message echoed across generations. You don't have to be perfect to make a difference. Greatness is not measured by size or beauty, but by purpose. Even the smallest light can save a life. When you give fully, you don't disappear, you become eternal. And somewhere beyond the edges of memory and time, a small candle's flame continued to glow. Not in wax, not in fire, but in people. And there she would burn forever,